Hi, my name is Megan, and I'm an OT grad student. So I've been here for 5 years, and I'll be graduating with my master's this year. Throughout my time here, I've been involved in so many things. Intramural sports. I was a senator for class senate. I was part of Call to Lead and Emotion in my undergrad. I worked as a peer mentor and for community living as a community fellow in the SDLCs, and now as an RA. I was pretty involved on campus throughout my time here. I am hearing impaired. The labels may vary from person to person, and I know that there are some people who feel that hearing impaired is incorrect, as the politically correct term is deaf and hard of hearing. I personally don't take offense to hearing impaired, so if you're talking about me, I've always called myself hearing impaired, and the label isn't super important to me, but that can vary from person to person. For me, I feel like hard of hearing indicates that you still have some hearing left, which I don't, so I don't feel like I fit in that category. I will say that I am deaf with a lowercase d because I am profoundly deaf, but I am not deaf with a capital D because that indicates that I'm part of the deaf culture, which I'm not. I do not know ASL. I was raised with a focus on SSL, which is speech and spoken language, because that's what made the most sense in my situation. My family is hearing. We don't have any connections to deaf culture, so it just didn't make sense for my specific situation. I had surgery, cochlear implant surgery on my left side when I was 3 and my right side when I was in 4th grade. And I want to stress that cochlear implants are not the same as hearing aids. In order to be eligible for cochlear implants or CIs, you need to be severely or profoundly deaf. If you have like a mild or moderate hearing loss, then you will probably have hearing aids because you still have some hearing. And at that point, what the hearing aids will do will amplify the little bit of hearing that you can already hear on your own. However, CIs, they go into your cochlea and directly interface with your nervous system. Your hearing process is an internal mechanism, whereas hearing aids are on the outside. I actually have a magnet, so you can kind of see my hearing or my cochlear implant here, and there's a headpiece here, so it's completely connected because from a magnet. I have CIs, not hearing aids, and that has made a huge impact on my life. I went through speech therapy and hearing therapy. My mom worked with me all day, every day, so that I can speak as well as I do and interact with the world around me in the way that I'm able to do and have the opportunities that I'm able to pursue now. However, with having cochlear implants comes a lot of misunderstandings. Some people think that having a CI means like I have normal hearing now, like when I put it on, like I have normal level hearing, which is not true. I still struggle a lot, especially in group settings. Background noises make it really hard for me to hear what I need to hear. I still need a lot of repetitions. I need captions on videos, parties and dances, the marketplace, all super difficult for me. Or even just hanging out with a group of friends at a house. I don't think I have a social battery necessarily, or I don't know if I do, but I definitely have a hearing battery, not just in a literal sense, like I literally have to change my rechargeable batteries for my cochlear implants, but it takes so much energy and effort to try and strain to listen, figure out where the sound is coming from, figure out what the sound is saying, processing what the sound is saying, and having to do that so much all day, every day, really just takes a lot out of me, because I have to put in that effort conscientiously. Most people don't even have to think about it. It's just natural. It comes easy. But I really have to put in a lot of energy. And that can be hard for people to understand. So that kind of contributes to sometimes feeling like an outsider for me, feeling left out. And not because anyone is trying to do that. It's just a tough situation sometimes. So I really appreciate when I have friends that take the time to repeat things to make sure that I'm truly understanding what's going on. A lot of times the group will laugh and I'll completely miss the joke. But having to ask for the repetition every single time is really tiring, so I just don't react. And my friends have caught that, and so if I just don't laugh, they'll automatically explain like, oh, this is what they said, this is the joke, to be able to include me. I've had people accuse me of using my hearing as an excuse, which is, for me, the most offensive thing you can do in regards to my hearing. I have had high school teachers tell me that there was one time I missed a homework assignment because she said it verbally. She didn't write it down anywhere. And when I told her I missed a homework assignment because I didn't hear her, she's like, oh, you can't use your hearing as an excuse. But that was literally the explanation. Like, she just didn't understand. I have had family members that didn't understand either. I remember my grandfather, this was still when I was like super young, so no one really understood how it worked yet in my family. But I remember him asking me, like, do you lip read? And I was like, why, yes, I do. And he said, oh, that's no good. You should hear better. And I remember just being like, what? How? Like, I can't control that. But one thing that is good about having my cochlear implant is it's kind of like a good screening device for the kind of people that I want in my life. So at eTown specifically, the professors have been amazing for the most part. I think that the most difficult thing, before COVID at least, was captions, in terms of the professors remembering to find videos that have captions already, or the professors remembering to put the captions on. I would have to remind them a lot. There are also some events that I just couldn't participate in. For example, the Ware lecture and the Leffler lecture. There was no good way to access what was being said. It wasn't captioned. It was a big crowd. I would typically be far away. So I was just like, this isn't doing anything for me. I can't really engage. Same with the theater productions. I would go to support friends, and best I could do was like, oh, I know that person, and just kind of like follow along with their actions, but I really wouldn't know the story. I wouldn't know what's being said. OSA has been a lot better about captions for their movie nights. I remember freshman year, sophomore year, it wasn't great. I didn't really go to movie nights, but they're a lot better about that this year. I've already talked about like how the marketplace is super hard to hear. I haven't sat, so you know how it's like kind of divided into two places, the larger side and the smaller side. I haven't sat in the larger side since freshman year because it's of the background noise. There's so many people, it's so hard to hear. So now with COVID, the hardest thing about learning at eTown is everything. The masks are a pain. I can't lip read anymore. It muffles the sound. I have no idea what people are saying when I go out in public. Like I need to have someone with me because I'm not going to understand what they're saying. Even clear masks will like limit the visibility. I can't see the entire face, or there's a reflection or a glare or something on the mask. Zoom classes were really hard, at least at first. They're a little better now, but it's still really hard. They're normalizing captions on Zoom now. At least my professors have been able to do that. But last semester, that really wasn't even a thing, and that was a big struggle. On top of the Zoom fatigue, the screen fatigue, trying to listen with the non-captioned platform is really, really hard. So yeah, the captions and the masks are one of my biggest struggles right now. But yeah, thank you for listening. And the biggest takeaways that I'd love for you to get out of this video is 4 things. It takes me so much energy and effort to hear, and CIs do not give me a normal level of hearing. If you have deaf and hard of hearing friends or come across people in your life that are deaf or hard of hearing, please repeat yourself, but don't over enunciate. That makes it harder to speak. Just speak normally, but maybe a little slower and a little louder, but don't overdo it. 3, captions are amazing. I've had hearing people tell me how much it helps them and how much they never realized how much they missed without the captions. Always advocate for captions. You never know who may need them, and most people benefit from them. And finally, the last thing, I'm very open about my hearing impairment and my experiences. I love sharing my story and educating people. So if you have any questions at all, just talk to the people at this event. They can forward questions to me, and I would be happy to answer anything. So thank you for taking the time to listen.